Good morning. I'm working out in my shop today. I'm working on the back of Dig Dug, and I picked up some stuff to help make this job a little easier and a little safer. Check out these new pipe stands. These I can just use to support the back while I work underneath up along the frame. These will be a lot safer than using cinder blocks and jack stands. All right, I feel a lot better about that. There's a lot of stuff that's got to come out of the back of Dig Dug still. So I'm going to start chopping and taking all of that stuff out so that I have a nice clean slate to work from. Then I can get back to work on the rear suspension. This tank's really heavy. With how much gas I have in it, it probably weighs like 100 pounds. So I'm gonna try and shimmy it out of here, get it onto my roller table, and store it somewhere else for a while. We'll just roll this out of the way for a bit. The rest of these floorboards are coming out next. The heads just broke off of most of those old rusty screws, but as long as the boards come out, we'll be good. I've got the wood out of here. I'm ready now to start chopping pieces out of the bed. I won't be needing this anymore. It's time to cut out these wheel wells now, and I really don't want to cut too much because it's tough to try and add stuff back together and it doesn't look good. So I took some time to lay out my center line, and I've got some other marks here that are going to help me make my final cut line, and then I'm going to stay way inside of that with the plasma cutter because it makes a really rough edge. I'll have to come back and clean it up with either a grinder or a Sawzall. I've got everything marked out now, and I think I'm gonna try and start out cutting with the Sawzall. The plasma cutter's not gonna go through these tubes in one slice, so I'd have to wrap all the way around. And I think the Sawzall might get me closer in the first cut. So we'll give it a try. That is gonna be so good. Look how huge it is. There's a lot of cleanup to do, and there's like the edge piece to stick in here and make it all look good. I'll have to build a diamond plate fender to go on the inside and everything, but that's way bigger. That's gonna look really good. I'll go do the other side. I think I'm gonna try this thing on this side. All right, there it is. Everything's all opened up. I'm not gonna finish out these fenders right now. I'm gonna get back on the axle and finish setting up that rear suspension. This will give me a ton of room to work. These fenders down here are way too cool to throw away, so they're definitely gonna have to get hoarded somewhere. It is wide open now. Plenty of room to figure out this suspension. And the pipe stands have been awesome. Now that I've got everything cleared out of the back area here, I need to get the truck sitting level so I can get this suspension set up. The truck is sitting a little low on the front right, and that's because it has a differential on the passenger side, there's the battery up there, a drive shaft on that side, and the transfer case is over there. That's why I set it up with the fuel tank on the driver's side, so that the driver, the fuel tank, the steering column, and steering gear would hopefully offset all the weight on the other side. Once I have the coilovers installed, I can adjust each corner independently, so I'll probably be good to move the fuel tank back to the middle. I can use the lift to get it all leveled out. Now that everything is sitting level, I'm going to cut this axle loose and true it up to the frame, then I can start working on the upper links. So without the back axle connected, I really have no weight back here. So it keeps tipping forward onto its front tires. So I need to go find something that I can plop on here and hold this thing down until I get the back axle reconnected. All right, that should do. Obviously this truck is gonna be down for a while, so I've been doing a lot of web wheeling with Onyx Off-Road. I like to use Onyx on my desktop computer, and it has a really cool route builder feature that allows you to look at the map and link trails together, and then you can save them until you're ready to go on your trip. I'm looking at all the trails out here on the Arizona Strip, and I'm building a route that will take me out to the edge of the Grand Canyon and then back some other way. When I'm done, I'll save this, and I can use it when Dig Dug is up and running. If you want to give Onyx a try, remember to use code TOMTOM at checkout for 20% off your first year subscription. Or you can use the link in my description, and it'll apply the same thing automatically. It's time to figure out where these lower links are going to go, so I'm finding the center line on this axle truss. Looks like my center line is right there. So I want the upper links to be about 75 to 80% of the length of the lower links. And I've got these brackets here that I got to figure out where they mount. I want the upper links to be pretty horizontal at ride height. So I need to mount them kind of low, but not quite that low. I'll figure this out and show you what I come up with. All right, I've been looking around under here, trying to figure out where these brackets for the upper links need to go. And I wanted to get them as far outward as I could to get more triangulation, and it's just not working. I think they're gonna have to go inside the frame, and that's okay. I measured the lower links, and there's a lot of triangulation on those, so together we should have plenty. I've got to chop out some old brackets, and this big cross member here that I thought I could keep doesn't look like it's gonna work. So I got a few more rivets I need to cut out. I'll do that right now. All right, we're gonna use the big red wrench. There we go. We got it. All this stuff right here needs to get chopped out. Somehow in here I need to weld some plates in right here, and make a pocket for the bracket that'll hold the upper link. Right down in here is where I need to build this bracket. This back in here is the bracket that the cab originally mounted to on the frame, and they're all riveted on. So I'm gonna clean them up a little bit so that I can weld them on really good so that they're not going anywhere. I just don't trust the old rivets. I've been playing around with these brackets for a while down here, trying to figure out where to install them. They're kind of like Legos. There's lots of different places and positions you could put them. I think I came up with a good solution. I'm gonna flip them around and put the left and the right side on the opposite side of the frame. And that gives me more clearance down here between this trailing arm and this bracket. It'll never come over this far and get into this. And it just creates a lot less work to put them in. It also gets me down really low where I want it to be. So I think I can use the middle hole and the bottom hole, probably not the top one without notching the frame. But that's gonna be a really good spot. So I'm gonna go weld up these brackets and then get them test fit in here and figure out what I need to trim off to make them work. I still wanna box in this frame a little bit around this bracket to make it stronger. So I'll need to build some plates and stuff that go in here, and then I can get these upper links attached. I'm gonna take these down and weld them up over on the bench. I'm gonna assemble these brackets together with one of these joints in them so I can get the bracket right where it needs to be, tack it all together, then I'll take it apart and weld it up so I don't burn up the joint. I'm putting in a little cardboard paper to make it a little bit wider than it needs to be so the joints will go in and out really easy. Okay, these are all bolted together. Now I can tack them up. That little shim made these fit 11% better. So these are all cleaned up, they're all deburred and ready to go in, but they're still really, really hot. I'm gonna go down on weld on the frame. Those body mount brackets need to get welded in. I'll go do that. Then when these cool off, we can go clamp them into place and figure out how long the upper control arms need to be. There's more welding to do up in here, but there's always more welding to do. So I'll come back to it later. Right now, these are cooled off and I'm gonna clamp them in somewhere down in here with this. I'm using my level as a straight edge here to get these lined up just right. That's pretty close. I need to get this one in a spot that I can repeat on the other side. So I need to line it up with something on the frame. All right, I mocked up this side as well, and I've been measuring both of them. And I think 41 inches looks like the right length for these control arms. So I'll build the control arms, I'll weld up the brackets for the axle end, and then I can come and tack those in. It's time to build these links now. So I have a set of left-hand thread and right-hand thread rod ends, tube inserts, and nuts. So I need to assemble these all together and figure out how long to cut the tubing. These are the confusing ones, the lefty-tighties. It just messes with your mind. This one is not going together. So something's wrong with that thread. And I have these little triangular files that I use to fix threads. So I just have to find the spot with the bad thread, file it until it'll go together. There it is. Thought I was gonna have to get my glasses on for a minute. Oh, yep, we got it. Probably just a little bit of weld spatter on there. I should have kept these covered. Okay, I got one of each end put together here. So I just have to figure out how much to subtract off for each side. That looks about right. So I need to subtract 4.5 inches off of both sides. That's 9 inches from 41. My links are 32 inches long. I love this saw. Look how these things come out. I'm gonna measure now and see how we did at hitting our 41-inch measurement. Oh, we're really, really close. I can adjust this by spinning these. I need to go out a little bit. That one's done. Same thing on the next one. Oh, there's a fire over here. Can you blow it out?
Bad. No, I can't.
You practicing for a birthday cake? Okay, these are all welded up. Angela made sure we didn't burn the shop down. Now I'm ready to go tack in the brackets. I've taken my links and adjusted them so they're exactly 41 inches long now. I'm gonna take the brackets and bolt them to the ends and then get these positioned underneath the truck. I've got everything clamped in place right now, and I've been tapping it with a hammer, trying to get it just perfect. I'm ready to tack in the back end, and then I can droop these down and clean off all the paint on the bottom side of this frame. Then I'll put them back in position, and I can weld in this end. I'm gonna mark one of these at a time with chalk. Now I can see where I need to grind. I've got these last brackets here clamped into position, and I think I'm ready to do a little more than just tacking. I can start bombing things in. That way when I'm rolling around under here and grabbing things, getting in and out, I'm not worried about something coming apart on me. It's time. I'm taking a little break. I'm eating my PBJ, just hanging out on my new couch. While I'm here, I thought I'd try and answer some of the questions that I keep seeing popping up in the comments. One of the questions is, why am I building this truck? There's a few different ways to answer that. The first one is, I'm building this truck for fun. I love everything about building these. I love designing things, I love fabricating, I love wiring, I love coming up with the ideas. Everything about building trucks like this is fun to me. So I'm doing it for fun. Then when the truck's all done, it's even more fun because I get to take it out on the trails, I get to go meet other people, I get to do some crazy rock crawling. I do want to set it up for off-road recoveries. I think that Matt is out of town enough and Southern Utah is big enough that there's a need and that there will be opportunities to do off-road recoveries. I'm going to set the truck up with toolboxes in the bed, with a Premier power welder, all the right equipment so that I can do recoveries when needed. Another thing I want to do with this truck is help some of my friends that are going to be racing here in the area. Ultra 4 races or Baja Desert style races. I don't want to enter, I just really want to go and help support as a chase vehicle or a recovery vehicle for them. I think that would be super fun to be involved with those. Another question we've had is, when will we have merch for sale? And the answer is very soon. Merch has arrived, we have it, we're just still trying to figure out the website. This is totally new to us, we don't really know what we're doing, and we're figuring it out. So let me show you right here. I should just start wearing the new hat. I'm really excited about the hats. I've got t-shirts and stickers and a whole bunch of other products that'll be up on the website, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So this isn't really a question, but I have something here that I want to show you. Check this out. Thank you so much. This is all you. You guys watching, liking, subscribing, commenting in the videos help me get this. Thank you for this. This is the 100,000 subscriber play button, and we wouldn't be able to make these videos without you and your support. So I will get this hung up in the shop somewhere that you can see it and you can enjoy it. Thank you. All right, another comment that I've seen a bunch and I want to address is the lighting in your shop stinks. And I know this is just built as a garage. It wasn't supposed to be a filming studio, but that's what we're using it for, so we're making it work. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for watching these videos anyways. But I've got new lights here. I've got these big LED panels that I think will make it way brighter. I think everything will look better. I just need a little bit of time to get them in. So probably in the next week or two, you should see a big upgrade in lighting. I also see the comments about the audio. It's really echoey in your shop. Let me show you. Echo! Yeah, it's really echoey in here. Like I said, this isn't a film studio, it's just a garage. And I plan to get things up on the walls, and I know they make these bass trap or echo panels that will make it sound better in here. We'll get to it eventually, and it should get sounding better in here. Yes, I do have a mic that I put on my GoPro camera, and it's still kind of echoey. I have a camera that the external mic sounds a little better on, but it doesn't do as good in this lighting. So when I get the better lights, maybe I can switch to that camera and the sound will get better. We'll get there. I'm about out of sandwich, so I'm gonna finish this and we'll get back to work. All right, it's time to figure out where these shocks are gonna poke up out of here, and they connect down to this trailing arm. Everything we've been doing today is leading up to this spot right here. They're gonna stick up 38 inches, maybe a little less because they're gonna be down in the middle of the trailing arm. So I need to figure out how far back towards the frame they're gonna be mounted. So the further that I mount them this way, the less forces on them, but the less wheel travel I get. If I go this way, the forces go up really high, but I can get a lot of wheel travel. So I want something in between. I'm not really building a real Ultra 4 car. They'd be like way back in here and would mount up in this area. So I'm gonna be a little out towards the axle more, and I'll just pick a good distance and we'll go with it. I'll drill some holes, we'll get these mounted in here and see what everything's gonna look like. So I think I wanna go about 10 inches away from the end of the rod and mount the shock, and then I need to go up another 6. So 16 inches away is where I wanna mount the coil over. So I think my shock will go right about there and the coil over right about there. Let's see how that's gonna look. Okay. That's where it'll come up, right there. Man, that's gonna be big. It's time to pull these links out and start drilling some holes. Every now and then it works. I'm gonna measure 5 inches back from this edge. That should be 10 total. I'm gonna mark the location on this control arm for the bypass shock and the coilover shock. And where I put those holes is really important. I'm gonna put the hole in the center around here. That way it's below the line connecting these two rod ends. So it's pulling downward, not pushing from the top. That way it doesn't wanna flutter or tip side to side. It just goes straight down. I'm pulling it down instead of trying to push it down. I've got the shocks laid out here and I'm doing some measuring, making sure that I have the right amount of clearance between them. There's gonna be a spring, that's the coil over part of the coil over, wrapped around the threaded shock here. So there'll be a little bit less clearance than what I've shown here. And also as the trailing arm drops, there's gonna be parallelogramming again. So they'll get closer together. But I feel like 6 inches is the right distance between them. The end of these shocks are pretty big and bulky, bigger than I expected. So I'm gonna have to notch out some big openings in those trailing arms for these to fit down inside. So I marked out some cut lines on the trailing arms, and I've been trying to think of a good clean way to remove that material, and there's just not one. I'm gonna have to use the plasma cutter, and I know it'll make a mess inside the tube, but I'm just gonna have to clean it up because there's not an easier way. So they're marked out, I'm ready to cut. Those turned out pretty good. That could have been a whole lot worse. It shouldn't be too hard to get these cleaned up so the shocks will fit down inside there and I can bolt them together. These are all cleaned up and they are looking really good now. All the junk is out of there. The sides look nice and smooth. The end of the shock should slide right in there and fit nice and tight. While they're still on the bench, this is a good time to take a look at them. You can see that the holes here are down in the middle, so they're below the rod ends, which are pushed up to the top side. And that's what gives me the anti-flutter that I was talking about. I'll be pulling down on these instead of pushing down. And you can see that I took a huge notch out of here and like really weakened this tubing. That's okay, I have a plan to add a bunch of steel back in there and strengthen it all up. But right now, I just want to get it under the truck and see how it looks with the shocks in it. The links are in and they're looking really good. I like where the pockets are. I'm ready to drop these shocks in, but when I stick them in, they're just gonna be floppy. So I kind of need something for them to flop against. I'm gonna try using this tire back here against the cab so I can just have them sticking up out of the pockets and then leaning forward into the tire. We'll try that. All right, this is shock 1 going in. Oh, there it is. That's better. I can hear the juices in there percolating. Oh, shock 2. Oh yeah, check that out. It's gonna be a tight fit with the coils on there. Oh, I'm excited. These are looking really cool back here. They're not at the right height though. They're all the way extended right now and the truck's sitting at right height. So I need to smash them down. I don't think there's any nitrogen in there. So I'm gonna try to get them setting at the level that they will be at when I install them. Let's see what happens. Maybe right there. Stay. I've got these shocks in here. They're kind of resting sort of where they're gonna be and I'm liking it. This is gonna be good. I wanna figure out a way to get them into their final position so I can kind of visualize where they're gonna stay. And I think I've got an idea. Yep, I do, I have an idea.
Hi, I'm out running errands today and Tom just texted me and said he needs something, so I'm gonna run in this store and see if they have what he needs. So Tom's text said noodles, and I was thinking ramen noodles, but I think he meant pool noodles. This is what I need. Mission accomplished. I think this will be plenty. 20 pool noodles. Got your noodles here. I don't know why you need them, and I hope this is enough noodles.
That is exactly what I needed. Triangulated. Hopefully that helps you get the vision of what I'm trying to build here. But there is one last thing. When I worked at Matt's, I always wanted to put those big, bright, tall LED antennas on top of the Banana or the Morvair, and Matt would never let me do it. There was a really cool brand called Mega Whip. I made up a jingle for them. It went, Mega Whips. They're mega tough, mega cool, mega bright. Make up your mind to go get one today. So today on Dig Dug, we're gonna do some mock-up Mega Whips. Mega Whips! Yeah! They're perfect. Check these out. Now it is complete. Hopefully you can see the vision. Thanks for watching.